Okay. Who would like to build the container? Right. Who doesn't want to build the container?
Everybody
Okay, it's
that's
going to be a
smiling.
long. All right. Do you want to go do it, Liam?
I am. I wouldn't know where to start, to be
Okay.
honest.
So you say, all right, everybody, let's check in. So let's go. Let's start with that.
Okay. All right, everybody, let's check in. Suppose I should go first. I could go first. That would be good. Uh, I am feeling amazing this morning. I spent the morning at the beach. It was a beautiful, beautiful sunrise, and did some meditation. Got my day started. I've been in a practice for the last couple of weeks doing this, except for a couple of days. The reason why I wasn't here last week was I had an email. My mother and I have been doing some exchanges as I've been working on some very deep stuff. And I received a very disturbing email from my mother Wednesday night or Monday night, which left me in a real difficult spot on Tuesday. So I just took that day to just kind of be with what was happening and allow it to work itself through, which it did. And since then, my mother and I have did what that was. And so, but today is an extraordinary start to my day, and it's good to be here. Who's next? Who would like to go next?
Yeah, I'm
Damien.
in, and today has not
Okay.
gone to plan at all, but I've taken it in my stride and still managed to attend. So I'm feeling good.
You, Dom.
Good to have you.
Taking Dom.
Who's next?
Yeah.
Damien?
Yeah, I'm happy to go next. I am. Oh, I've got a frog in my throat. That's how I'm checking in. I have a little bit. I've got a bit of fatigue at the moment. Yeah, feeling a little bit tired and inflamed, and so yeah, maybe a little bit slow today until I have my 11 o'clock cup of coffee. But pleased to see everyone. Pleased to see such a full container because there's a lot of people here today, so that's great. And I will tag James.
Hi, I hope I'm still, yeah, I'm not just about audible. How am I and where am I today? Most of last week kind of disappeared in a swathe of man flu. Terrible, terrible condition, man flu. I'm sure we're all familiar with it. You know, it was a near fatal dose, this one. Mere mortals would normally have, balked at it, but I managed to get through. Um, how am I today? A little rushed because I was kind of like, I'm in a different place today. So there was a bit of connectivity issues that I had to get through. But other than that, yeah, it's nice to see a lot of people here, some people I don't recognize, which is good. And I will tag. We had Alex.
Okay. Can you hear me okay? Am I coming through? Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, I'm checking in as I'm optimistic and grateful and in a good mood this morning. Looking forward to the day ahead. Volunteers and Freddie are downstairs. I'm upstairs in a separate room, so just sat on the floor, which is different, but I'm gonna roll with it. And I will tag Chris downstairs.
You're on mute, Chris.
Maybe that.
Chris, you're on mute. There you go.
Oh, is that working now? Yep. Hey, so yeah, I'm Chris. I'm feeling really good. Sun shining.
Sun shining and the room is echoing. Wow, 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 wow.
So yeah, really good.
Okay, so I take it you've got two laptops in one room.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
you better mute, Chris. No, you just switched off the video. I'll mute you. Yeah, there we go. So video's back on and you're muted. All right. So let's go to there we go. Freddie's back. Zoe, do you want to come in? Oh, there we go, Chris.
Yeah.
All right, let's go on in.
Come on, and Zoe, checking in. I'm feeling really good today. Lots of positives. There's more positives than when I spoke to you, Chris, this morning. This morning was not great, but since then I've had some good news about my son and his schooling, which has really set the tone for the day. He's going to get lots of help that he needs, which is music to my ears. After a while of not seeing a friend of mine, they've got in contact and we've been building bridges this morning. So that's been really nice. So yeah, I'm in a really nice place, and I'm in sunny Sheffield. The sun's shining today, so that's also a really lovely change. Stan?
Hi, I'm Stan. It's sunny Sheffield today. It's that B vitamin. Everybody's got a smile on their face. I'm feeling really positive and blessed today. Thank you.
Thanks, Stan.
Corey.
Cody, yeah, I'm okay. Like everyone said, sun's shining, so nice. Yeah, I'm all right. Yeah, not bad. Yeah, that's all I've got really. I mean, I'm good.
Thank you, Cody.
Thank you.
Are you tagging Cody?
Oh, sorry. Tim.
I'm Tim. Yeah, I'm fine, thanks. And I had something worse than man flu last week. I had women's flu.
Oh.
But I was really laid low. So, sorry. But fine, thank you. Sorry.
Are you
Yeah. Morning, everyone. I'm Nick. It's very sunny in Sheffield, and I had ample opportunity to find the house. I sat in a car for an hour and a half trying to get in. I was a little bit stressed on arrival, but seeing the lovely people here and you guys online, obviously that's taken the sting out of that, so I'm ready to go. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick.
Freddie.
Hello, I'm Freddie. I'm good. Checking in. Well, yeah, balanced. Feeling good, feeling optimistic, feeling positive. Thank you. I don't know if that everybody else covered on our end.
Yeah,
David, have you checked in?
No, but I haven't. I'm checking in with the usual. Oh fuck! How are we going to handle this anxiety? Just there's classic room there. Are you on a big screen? Sorry, are you guys on a big screen over there?
Yeah, you're on a big TV. Sort of looks like this.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's great.
And then
Oh, okay. All right, that's good because it's quite difficult for me to see you lot. Now it says my internet connection's unstable. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, great. So I'm checking in Yeah, just a bit of anxiety, but that will settle. Let me tag Alex. Did you go? You said you were downstairs, didn't you?
Yeah,
Yeah, Alex is
yeah,
done. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So is that everyone, Liam?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So the next, so we've checked in. We're creating the container. We're going to contract for 2 hours. The project 6 people will stay for the first hour, then they'll break off into coaching rooms. Yep. But was there any homework from last week? Is there anything we need to be accountable for from last week? Yes, James.
And I have to fully admit I've done none of it.
Okay, well done. Okay. What was the homework that you earned?
It was looking into a kind of creative tool to kind of work through conditions around relapse, like what would lead up to it, and the like rather than examining the incident itself, the things that kind of came before it. I think that was
Okay.
the rough précis.
All right. Okay. Did anyone else have any accountability? Yep, Alex.
Well, we agreed that I would. I was going to say, can you just mute in the group room, please? Because it's feeding. Thank you. Yeah, we agreed last week that I'd hold James accountable. I'm not sure I like that phrase, but I can't think of another one right now. But he's not done it, so yay! I don't have to worry about that.
Okay. So you're going to support James in his accountability piece.
Yeah, that's it. It's coming back to me. We were going to bounce ideas off, and we were going to create something around it. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Anyone else want to add anything?
I was going to go to the doctors last week. I went on Wednesday to get blood test results and everything's all right. That was my homework for the week.
Did you want to come in? I kind of saw your head in there on the side.
Hey? Oh,
No, Freddie wanted to know if Freddie wanted to say something. I saw his head poking.
Oh, no, sorry. I was just fixing the TV because I pulled a wire out.
Oh dear. Okay. All right. So is there any accountability in the room there? I seen Nick. Yes,
Yeah,
Stan.
me and Stan have we're going to be looking at the handbook
Yeah.
for sort of the new volunteers and new starters and people that come into Project 6 on this side of the building. But we've got a meeting, haven't we, at some point? So that's still an ongoing thing. So until that meeting takes place, we're still holding accountability until that's done.
Yeah, I was going to say part of our homework was we arranged for Stan and Chris to come over to our building on the other side of Sheffield, and we gave them a guided tour. They had a look at what we do, and we got the guys from the other two parts of. We had the ARC, we have the hospital mentoring scheme, and we have Fresh Start that deal with the ladies who've had their children removed. So we had those guys come and talk to Chris and Stan and just give them a brief oversight as to what goes on there. So the next step is for us to come here. Oddly enough, we are here, and the guys will do the same for us. So that's been really practical and it's been of great use. It's great to see them.
How does that make you feel, Nick?
Oh, it was lovely. I was worried that no one had come, but then I thought I can rely on these guys, and they showed genuine interest, which is great because there's always a sort of a nervous apprehension. You wonder whether you can justify what you do, but even just from the drop-in, it was nice, and they contributed. They talked to everybody, so they were involved. It wasn't just us showing them; they were part of the process. So that's always great to see.
Okay. So that makes me feel like that feels really positive and productive from my perspective.
It is, because we've been talking about it for 3 months and we haven't done it.
Okay, great. So the accountability piece helped move you into action.
Exactly right.
Okay. And what have you learned from that action?
Yeah, it's just it's a matter of taking responsibility for your own actions and not relying on other people. People with the best will in the world will say they'll do things, but things get lost and other things crop up that are deemed more important. That showed us that we can do it, and the benefits are there, and it's well worth doing it as well.
Okay. So there's that technical term that I spent many years at university learning. It's called "fuck it, just do it." Yeah, sometimes we can get so caught up in talking and talking. Sometimes you just got to take action and go and do it. Fantastic. Well done. Well done. That's brilliant. Damien, you're deep in thought there, looking out the window, pondering over your estate there.
It's a
Where's
very
the
nice
dog,
view
by the
out the
way?
window here today.
Where's,
Sunny, green.
where's
Yeah.
your dog? Your dog usually joins a container about this time.
I don't know, my disloyal dog is somewhere else in the house.
Okay. Did you have any homework?
I did not have any homework this week, no.
Okay. So what have you learned this week?
Ah, well, there's a good question. What have I learned this week? Had a bit of it's been a bit of family drama going on. So I've been working through that, to be honest. But as I said at the beginning, I've had this, I've been got quite a lot of fatigue going on, and I don't know what that is particularly. But what I find interesting is that I find it very difficult to rest, to really give myself permission to rest. And when I do give in to the fatigue and lie down or rest, I feel like I'm wasting my life. That's how I feel. So I'm always battling that, and yeah, that's kind of what's been going on this week, really. I've been feeling a bit too tired to do anything, and feeling guilty about it.
Michelle, welcome. Oh, her audio's still connecting. Where is Michelle? Is she at your offices at all? I think she's running around looking for a room. And I'm getting seasick watching her. Okay.
Just wondered if I could bounce off some of that you brought up then, Damien, because it's definitely something that I suffer with as well, and having to kind of like reprogram myself in thinking, what is it that drives that kind of like, I'm not doing anything, therefore I am valueless, therefore I am worthless, therefore it's all bad. Where does that come from? And that's certainly something that I've been considering a lot recently. Just wanted to kind of like throw it back in there and say, I don't think it's particularly unusual. And I know with myself, it kind of centers around a lot of like weird guilt from having not done stuff before, if that makes sense. Like, having wasted life in certain experiences, blah, that kind of stuff. So I don't know. I just wanted to throw that in there as you kind of brought it up. I don't know if it brings up anything for anyone else.
You've got some false beliefs there, James. Michelle, are you there?
I am. I'm on my phone and I'm having a few problems, David. So I'll get back to you as long as you can hear my voice.
Yeah. Do you want to check in?
I will do, yeah. I'm really good this morning, a bit rushed, but yeah, I feel really good. I've had a good morning. I've woke up not feeling rough with a migraine or an headache. So yeah, I've been having some really good days. So yeah, really good.
Okay, great. All right, so there's can you see the whiteboard, everyone?
Mine's
Yep.
come back. It
So
says
there's,
unable to load.
oh, all right, I'll come back to you in a second. Yeah. I don't know
Didn't see my
why
mic.
yours is okay. So there's the headphones. It's checking contract, create the container. There's the agenda. Here's action and accountability was here now. And now we're moving along continuums. Yep.
Right.
So who was it? Was it Nick who just went off and did something? He went off and called did some action and went off and did something. So I'm just going to stop the whiteboard there, just because, to bring Liam along. But I just want to now go to, yep. What's the next step in your journey as individuals and as an organization? What's today's agenda?
I think first thing would be if we're not talking, then we all need to mute because there'll be less data coming into space.
Mm.
It feels really fragmented. And we're talking about containers, but the group at the minute feels, for me anyway, feels quite difficult to contain. I'm not sure that group room setup works at all, and it kind of makes it quite, it feels like I'm having to work hard to be present to everybody. I feel like I'm having a difficult time. It's probably for me to look at myself personally. I'm having a hard time to like ground in to the space to be really present, and I'm like, I've got noises coming in from everywhere. I can't really hear what people are saying. You know, when it goes to group room, you can barely hear it. So I think David mentioned before as well about like the anxiety. So it's like a shared thing that I'm feeling too. So I already feel better for sharing it. Thank you.
Alex, how's that?
How's that?
Just switched off the video. Yep. So we know they're there, and when they can come in and talk, yep, and they'll still be able to see us. So let's try that for a couple of minutes and just see if that settles. So good level 3 listening there, in feeling how the container is, great authenticity in bringing yourself and talking about what your struggle is around that. So fantastic. Well done for that. Okay, so the overall agenda here is we're learning about coaching and using coaching as a skill set to have co-creative, collaborative conversations that move individuals, organizations forward. Yeah. And now we're trying to establish what today's agenda is. Yeah, we started with Liam building the container and checking in and going, oh shit, how do I start? Da, 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 da. You just start. You just ask for a check-in, you build it, then you just check for if there was any robustness in the container, where Alex was able to say, listen, guys, this is difficult for me. We've made an adjustment and we're now moving forward. How does it feel now, Alex?
It feels better,
And
yeah.
he's just frozen.
Yeah,
Does it feel better? Okay.
slightly.
All right.
I think that I'm going to have a think about where I'm going to position myself, though. I'm not sure that it's working for me being up here either. So, but we'll figure something out. But in terms of an agenda as well, I think what James and Damien shared feels quite powerful and relevant about where we get a sense of worth from, and where do we get conditioned to think that we need to be constantly killing ourselves to be doing things all the time, and where does like slowing down to speed up come into that? You know, could be a good one to riff around.
Okay. James, did you want to come back in there? Because I saw you kind of nod. That doesn't mean that it's
sort of agreement in the like I think it's probably something that that we all share. I'm guessing anyway. That worth and attachment to things. You know, the value that we place upon ourselves as a result of how we deal with other people, or what we consider to be a successful day, or success in general, I suppose. So yeah, it might be an interesting thing to bounce around on the. Let's see what the rest of the container has to sort of say about that. So I'm not speaking very well today, but I'll get better.
So just change it to I. Yeah, just speak from your I, just speak from your heart. Yeah. You want to try again? You want to let it go? That's a yes, no question.
It broke up a little bit, so I wasn't sure what the question is. Do I want to try that again, just using I? Yeah, okay.
Yes, just use I. So I find it.
I find
yeah,
it.
Great.
I find that that I attach a lot of my feelings of worth to work, to some relationships as well. And in that, when I'm not actively engaged in those processes, I feel less of a person. All right.
Wonderful. Do you feel how that feels more grounded when you speak from the, and maybe that's just my experience, but for me, I understood you better. Okay, I'm going to say it's Freddie's hands up, but it might not be Freddie. Let's hear from the room up there.
Yeah.
Hiya, yeah, I feel like we were a little bit out of it in this room at the moment with our camera being turned off, and I don't feel like we're part of this container. That's coming from me, I'm not speaking for anybody else. And I just feel a little bit out of it, like we're not in this container with you. That's a lot better. I feel like that's what needs to happen. We need to have this camera on. We've decided to do this as a whole room together to support each other within this little container, within a bigger container, and I think that's what needs to happen. It's making me feel really anxious and quite frustrated that our camera's turned off. I don't feel part of the container.
And how are you feeling now that it's back on?
A lot better, thank you.
Good. All right. Alex, how are you doing? I saw you send some love there.
I love it. Thank you, Zoe. Just anybody who's prepared to put their voice into the fucking room in a way that feels real, authentic, just is so welcome, and I really appreciate Zoe for speaking up.
So what's the value there, Alex, that you appreciate?
Safety. Because if Zoe's speaking her truth, then I feel like I can speak mine in response to her, and we'll get along and grow closer, and also as a community as well. That's
So, but there was a robustness there. There was something about hearing Zoe's anger that made you go, yes, get in there.
yeah, absolutely. You know, and I dropped a purposeful swear word in there for effect as well, so you know I really mean business.
Good. So what's that value? There's
The
like
va-
there's a courageous authenticity and honesty there.
yeah, I value rebellion. So
Rebellion.
yeah,
Cool.
so when Zoe's speaking from that sort of from that place, I feel sort of fired up to join her on a crusade. You know, like when we were back in Sheffield when we were doing the 3 days, and we were talking about the document, and you know, it got, you know, I sort of like, you know, perhaps there's a trigger there as well, or there's some sort of like provocative stirring of the spirit in there somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whose hands up?
And I just want to, I also feel this is another thing as well. I feel like I want to maybe somewhat responsible for everybody having a good experience in that group room. And it's like, you know what I mean? It's like I'm upstairs and it's like a dynamic going on, and it's a bit groovy, isn't it?
Yeah. Let's move back to the room. Whose hands up in the room there?
So, Alex,
Yes.
to respond to Alex about what he's just said.
Just like I say, as a group of people, I just think sitting here with the camera turned off is just like almost silencing us, and I don't like that. I don't like to be silenced. I don't think any of us in this room want that either. But I've got to speak authentically from me, that having the camera back on is, you know, I feel heard again. I've spent too long in my life being put in the dark and not listened to. So here I am.
I'm gonna caveat that.
Right. So the value is your voice is important and really matters.
Yes, it does. Yeah, it is.
Right. Michelle, you wanted to jump in there?
Yeah, I understand what she's saying, because my first few sessions with you, David, I went through a similar experience with the camera turned off, and it made me feel like that. So yeah, I totally get it. Yeah, you feel like you're kept in dark, but I was trying to respect other people, you know, with their anxieties. But I went through a few sessions like that, and I thought, no, you know, it's got to be on camera so we can talk, so we can see other people. So I'm very much like that. I like to look at people. I like to look at the facial expressions, and I remember them better that way, by the names, if I'm actually seeing them. So yeah, I get that. That's just what I wanted to say.
Yeah. Liam, how are you doing there? You're muted. Where did Liam go? Oh,
I'm here now.
okay.
I loved what Alex said, and then to have Zoe describe exactly how she was feeling, and then I think having that, it was the very first thought that came to mind when I heard that they had turned off their screen. I felt disconnected from them, which changed the whole landscape of the container for me.
Okay. So the level 3 listening changed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Whose hands back up in the room now?
Me, if possible. It's Freddie. Sorry.
Yeah.
I think I'm facing a little difficulty as well, because having our microphone muted, it means that I'm having to sit by the laptop and manually unmute it and also ask if anybody wants to speak, and then raise my hand, and it feels like it puts me in a position of sort of authority almost, which feels uncomfortable for me, sort of sitting by the laptop and sort of, I think it feels like I'm almost sort of dictating a conversation, which doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel fair or honest, or yeah. I don't know if anybody else has any feedback.
So now that the microphone's on, that we can all be seen. I know just because of the setup of this room, unfortunately, we can't see everybody, but that's just how it is. We've decided to do this as a group as Project 6, which is lovely for us because it's binding us all together from 2 separate buildings. And just on another note, thank you, Michelle, for appreciating what I'd said.
You're welcome.
Okay, all right. So Freddie's in a unfortunate burden of leadership position where he's got to kind of play with the technology to try and include everyone, and then from that kind of gets put in a power position. Yeah. Okay. Dom.
Yeah, I'm feeling a bit of disconnect from the group, to be quite honest. I
Yeah.
like being part of that container last week, and I'm missing something as a result now, I feel.
Okay. Right. So everyone take a breath. Yeah. And let's just bring it back to coaching and learning about coaching and how this might impact the people that we want to work with. Okay, what are we learning here?
Well, we're learning that how different people feel about the connection, about that it's very important to see each other, and that feels very inclusive.
Yeah, we're learning about how we like to communicate and how communication is, you know, more effective for us all individually. I think it's a great lesson, and I think it shows you a lot of points about yourself and how you communicate, because I relate to so much stuff that people have already said on here. So yeah, I think communication is key, and I think it's about feeling connected and seeing people to be able to communicate with them better instead of, you know, just hearing them.
Yeah.
I would add to what has just been said. It seems like the letter C seems to be taking command here. Community as well. Inside of community is communication and feeling connected. And considering the groups of people that we are working with, feeling connected is a massive avenue for recovery. And in that is that community and having a sense of community. And when you can't see people, we can't have a sense of community. And so that's what I'm taking away from this whole conversation.
I guess
Okay,
for
yeah.
me, maybe this whole session's been about building the container, which is quite interesting because we started off with Liam saying, I don't know how to build a container. And now we've spent 45 minutes building a container, which is great. And but I guess we're presented here with a dilemma. I had in my fellowship that I'm part of, and we do some online meetings, we made for our group a rule that cameras must always be on, because we felt that, sorry, this is now the dog. 1 second.
Rescued by the dog. Great.
Oh. Right, he's gone off somewhere else. He just knocked on the door. Um, so so yeah, we felt that within our container, effectively, if someone had their camera off, it made other people nervous or unable to share openly because we couldn't see who they were or what they were doing. And similarly, we felt that it was important for the people to have their cameras on to feel part of. So I think that's a thing. In this container, I think we have a dilemma because we have a container within a container, and that creates a level of anxiety. I think I cannot see the expressions on the faces of people in Project 6, and I can't see, I think, two members of the group at all. So there's a sort of already a sort of disconnect when we're in a Zoom meeting. When there are individual faces in squares, we can create some level of intimacy and equality around each individual member in a square. But I think so we're presented with a dilemma because we want Project 6 to be part of the container, but I certainly, for me, turning off the camera was not a solution at all for me. And it seems that's where the group has ended up. But it doesn't necessarily mean that we've come to any satisfactory conclusion about Alex's original point, which was that the setup here creates a slightly disconnected container. I'm not forming a relationship with the individuals in the Project 6 room.
Crisis, chaos, and conflict. Yeah, but whose hands up in the group room?
I'm Stan. What I'm taking from today's session is containers and communities, they're not always black and white, they're not always straightforward. And what I'm getting from this is how we bend the container to keep it inclusive so that everybody becomes part of the container. And I think that's a lesson that we need to learn today, is that everyone's inclusive, and we might have to bend the container slightly to bring people in rather than exclude them. Yeah.
Thank you, Stan.
So physically, I've got a ball of anxiety in my stomach where I'm just trying to manage it all and just trying to think, oh, Alex said working hard earlier. And that's something that I feel that I'm doing. My anxiety is are we learning about coaching? Are we in line with what we've agreed? And my answer would be yes, because there's a robustness coming here where we operate in crisis, chaos, and conflict. Yep. And it is messy all the time. So I'm feeling all right about that. Who just had their hand up and put it down? This was that was
I had
Liam,
my
yeah?
hand up. Yeah, I had my hand up because you kind of just said what I was thinking, which is that I think in any given situation, we are dealt with exactly what we are dealt with, and the container has to be built from there. So nothing is perfect, and there is always something moving. As you said, chaos. And I appreciate so much what Damien was saying about this container, because we are building the container, and it is what it is as it is right now. It can't be any other way. And this is the container as it is right now.
So, Liam, that's a good point for you to summarize and ask what the takeaway is going to be for the people in the Project 6 room, because they're going to be going off in a minute and breaking up into, how are you breaking off? Into pairs or triads to practice coaching? How many in the room today?
1, 2, 3, 4.
We can always break up into twos and then a three or something like that.
Okay, so break off into pairs and a triad. Alex, are you going upstairs and joining them?
Yeah, well, I was going to stay upstairs, but we was talking to Freddie this morning, and we arranged that I'd go downstairs and join those guys. Because Freddie, are you? What was it again? You leaving, aren't you, a little bit early?
Yeah, I've got a meeting at 11:30, so I might need to shoot off a little bit.
Yeah.
Which I can speak about.
All right. Okay. So Alex will go and join them. Yep. So Liam, summarize a container, ask them what their homework is, and then we'll take a break. And well done for facilitating creating the container, Liam. Feel the pressure.
Yeah. So this is the container. What we have right now is the container. This is everything that is possible for this particular session today is what we have as a container. And so given that, what has in this whole entire discussion, what has been the takeaway for particularly the Project 6 people? Who would like to go first?
Takeaway for me is that a container can be a tricky place to be, and I think it's about working through that and taking it along those continuums of this is what the container is, how can we best work with it? So that's what I'm taking away from it, that sometimes things aren't perfect and that's okay, but we've still built a really robust container today, and we've talked it through, and we've shared ideas, and we've shared where maybe there's been a few problems and people have felt anxieties over it, and that we've all been able to share that in a safe environment. And I think that's a really good takeaway for myself today.
Who are you tagging?
Freddie.
Oh, God. So my takeaway from today is I think I noticed some difficult core wounds come up for me in terms of this space, whether it was sort of feeling unheard and the impact I think that has on myself personally, and bringing that into a space and feeling that in my body and feeling, noticing that, I think is a valuable lesson for me today, and sort of being aware of where that might crop up in my life. So I think that's definitely been a valuable thing for me to speak personally, but also I appreciate that in the container, the space is still felt as transparent and safe with a collaborative approach as well, because, you know, we've had the ability to raise these difficult things that we've experienced and to speak about them openly. And I think that can only be a testament to the container and sort of the relationships we've built throughout, sort of from the in-person sessions, and also, you know, leaving space for new voices in the room as well. Obviously, like Liam and Damien, Michelle, and the new voices that we have in the room too.
Thanks, Freddie. Who are you tagging?
Stan?
I've just wrote a few things down here. I mean, one of the things is I wrote is evolve. I think the container should be able to be evolved. There's no corners to it to me. It's more circular. It evolves, it grows, and it's all inclusive. You know what I mean? It's not exclusive. It's all inclusive. That's just a few words that I've just jotted down as we've been going through. I'm tied Tim.
Thank you, Tim. I feel the thing I've taken away from here is what I took away from the initial courses. communication and listening are two vital things, and I think we're doing that over the Zoom meeting. And I also feel included, especially with the other members of Project 6 that I don't see very often. I think it's great. And also, I think Liam picked it up about the group here. We're not seeing people's expressions. I'm looking at the screen. I can't see, even though I'm sat in the same room, I'm looking on the screen and I can't see people on the screen, which is not ideal. I think we need to work at it a little bit. That's me, and I'll nominate. Sorry, Cody.
No, I mean, I just feel like I should really speak up more. I mean, like when the camera were off. I mean, I missed last week, so I had my children, and then this week I let my brother use my laptop. He's got his own business. He's not very good with computers, so I left him the laptop. So if we didn't do this in here, I'd miss this week as well. So I mean, it really agitates me. I should have spoke up, to be honest, but yeah, I mean, so if I'd have missed this week, and I was thinking I might just walk out because there's other things I could be doing. I could have, I mean, I could go and volunteer, or I could go somewhere else and help out. So I just thought, well, what's the point of being here if I'm just going to be on a blank screen? Do you know what I mean? It's not really a group, was it? So I just thought, yeah, but I mean, obviously he's always spoke up, and then when the camera was on, I felt a bit better. So, I mean, I should really speak up more, to be honest, but that's just how I'm feeling,
Thank you, Cody.
Who are you taking, Cody?
Chris, sorry.
I'm Chris. So from today, transparency and honesty, even if it pisses another person off, we still got through it.
Great stuff. Who are you taking, Chris?
Zoe.
Tim.
It's
Nick. Sorry, Nick.
Yeah, I think the prime lesson to learn from all of that is that adaptability is key. We will be faced with situations where physically and mentally things are difficult and they're not perfect, and we will not be able to influence them to turn them into the ideal that we like them to be. But as long as we can recognise that and use our skills and use adaptability, we'll still get a positive result. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick.
Thank you, Nick. Good.
Wow, there was a lot there. All right. Is that everyone?
Yeah.
Yep. All right. So go off, break up into your groups or pairs or however you want to do it. Give yourselves some homework, and we'll see you next week. Alex, sorry, did you want to check out here as well now quickly?
Yeah, a quick one. Just say thank you, James, Liam, Damien, Michelle. Just really great input. Loads of insights about communication and togetherness, and sometimes we've got to rock the boat and get to the other side in a better shape than we were. Thank you. Really appreciate it. I'm off downstairs.
Great. Look, all right. Lots of love, everyone. See you all next week.
Bye.
Yep.
Can I have a quick word with you, David, before you go?
No, you're staying with us, love.
Oh, right.
You're
Are
not,
they going
you're,
up to do
you're,
right? Okay.
You're not going. We're not letting
Oh,
you
I
go.
thought you were finishing then.
Yeah.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, who's going to press exit on your side? There we go. All right. Oh, straight away I can feel my body going. Oh.
Okay. I think that was one of the most powerful experiences of sharing that I think you can have in a Zoom level kind of conversation. It was, to me, there was all this trust and authenticity and honesty and transparency and vulnerability, and I mean, all of this coming together to have this conversation about, is this container a container that we want as an agreement amongst a group of people who are trying to coordinate and cooperate inside of a discussion about coaching. And that was so beautiful for me to witness and experience. And I was, yeah, that was
Great. I'll take that feedback. I've got so much anxiety now trying to think, oh my God, this is such a fuck up. This isn't working for everyone. So great. All right. So
but
Michelle, we're going to take
it invited such a great level of transparency. And as soon as Alex stepped in and said what he said, and then the environment just opened up into so much of all of those words, this trust and authenticity and transparency and vulnerability. And I'm going to stick myself out there and hope nobody gets mad at me. And that's like community at its best if we're all in it together in some sort of an agreement. It's just done over Zoom. And
let's take 5 minutes. Yeah. I can see James and Damien kind of stretching like that. Dom squirming in his seat a little bit.
Definitely
Michelle,
time
you're
for
right if you
coffee.
take 5 minutes and then
Yes,
come back?
I am, yeah.
Yeah. See you all in 5 minutes at
Okay.
11:05.
Okay.
Welcome back, James. This is the voice of God talking down. Whoa.
I thought it was some kind of like weird subconscious message that I was getting. I'm like, what?
How you, Dom?
Yeah, I'm good. I was a bit fidgety earlier because I had a cushion on my seat which wasn't working for me. It was supposed to make me more comfortable and didn't.
Okay. What happened to Michelle?
Not sure.
Okay. All right. So, Dom, do you feel like building the container, or is that too soon for you?
Yeah, well, yeah, all right. Well, I'm checking in, and I feel very isolated from my colleagues, and this is causing me quite a bit of anxiety. And I'm usually quite relaxed. This is a couple of people I met very briefly last week when I had technical issues on Wednesday. So I that's a good thing that I know a couple of people. That's James and Damien. But I'm just going to soldier on and work together. Yeah. So I'll tag in James now.
Thanks, Dom. Yeah, I'm still kind of like mulling over what we've learned from the last hour actually. So I'm going to sort of check in with feeling refreshed at having learned some more, I suppose, is probably the short version. And we'll jump in with Liam.
You're muted, Liam.
That the previous hour, I'm feeling inspired by it. So that's how I'm checking in. And I'll tag Damien.
I actually have a splitting headache, which has come on. So I'm really struggling today, actually, with the fatigue and the headache. Just taken some paracetamol. I've got a coffee, and maybe I'll perk up. I love that Liam is inspired by the last hour. I am not. That's why I love that Liam is. I think it's amazing how we can all have different experiences. And it's not that I'm not inspired. It was an interesting hour in terms of, as we said, learning about building containers, maybe noticing my own perfectionism a little bit about things. But I suppose I feel like yeah, it feels a bit scrappy. And I suppose maybe what it is that what needs to land for me is what I've learned. And actually I've written down these wonderful notes about building containers. So there has been a lesson, but perhaps I have a desire to learn things in a kind of linear, here are the lessons, I don't know. Sorry, my dog really is now trying to get into the thing. So here we go. Come on. Come on, Ernie. Come on. So anyway, yes, I don't know how I'm I'm checking in with a headache, and trying to digest what and how I'm learning, I guess.
Damien tags Michelle.
Did you just say my name, David?
Yep.
Yeah. Checking in. Don't think I've got much to say right now. I think yeah, today, me, I'm just feeling really calm, present, and really good. So, yeah, that's all I've got to say.
And Michelle tagged me. Okay. So I check in a lot more relaxed. It was difficult to manage. I'm so pleased Liam is at one side of the continuum, and I'm so pleased Damien's at the other side, and we can find the middle ground. Yep. So we're here to learn. And we're here to learn how to use coaching as a skill set to influence the culture of addiction to move towards a culture of recovery. So we're continuously trying to be in a culture of recovery ourselves as individuals, and then we move into the culture of addiction to support our clientele, moving to a culture of recovery. Does everyone agree with me on that?
Yes.
Yeah, that's like okay.
Yeah.
So we're not doctors, we're not therapists, we're not counselors, we're not sponsors. We're coaches. We're professional coaches that work in the field of recovery and trying to move our clients to a place of wellness, to high well-being. Yeah, to harm reduction and abstinence. Yep, away from premature death. So those are the continuums of the conversation. Yep. And we work in a system, and that system is in crisis, chaos, and conflict. So if we just zoom out quickly and just look at the container for the past hour, yep, switching on a camera, switching off a camera triggered all sorts of people's past wounds. I feel like I'm rejected and being left in the dark in a room, was I think Zoe's comment. Like that really triggered some past childhood trauma stuff, which certainly wasn't what our intention was. And we can sit and have a conversation with someone and that stuff gets triggered. Would you agree with me?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so I didn't wake up this morning and go, right, in class today, we're going to go and fucking trigger Zoe's trauma and yeah, that's going to be a good lesson. No, we just like, fuck, okay, this has come up. How are we going to contain it and support it? Yeah. So the first thing I always have to remind myself is everyone is well. We are working with well people. Always well people. No matter where the individual is on their journey, we're holding them in a place of wellness. What I loved about Damien's feedback is, guys, I've got a splitting headache. Yep. I was, and this last hour hasn't been helpful. The fact that he can be so authentic and honest about it is a good thing. Yep. And then he said, I like to learn in a structured and a linear way. Yeah. So, Damien, have you got access to the platform?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I'm just going to jump to the platform quickly, just to where am I? Just to bring in the content of where we should be. Okay. So where is it now? Why is this not working? Can you see my screen?
Can see you.
Yeah.
There's confirming to share.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now we can see your screen.
All right. So if we go to Mauni, yeah. And if we go to the journeys, I've completed them all. And we should be around here now. Module 3. So there should be some content here. There should be a little video to watch. Have you got access to all this stuff, David?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's what we were talking about: culture of addiction, culture of recovery. We're over here. I don't know, can you see me, my annotations here? So hopefully we're over here and we go across and work with people that are in this kind of area. Whoops, why is my attention still there? That shouldn't. There. Okay. Let me talk about the recovering brain. Have you been through this material yet? All right. So let's talk about the brain quickly. So you know how to get there and go through that stuff. Yeah. So when we talk about the brain, yeah, we've got the prefrontal cortex here, and then we've got the amygdala here. And the amygdala is the part of our brain that looks after
I can't
fight,
see you.
flight, freeze. Can you see me now?
You're pixelated for me, at least.
Oh, I'm sorry. Am I all right for everyone else? Let me try my network.
Yeah, it's a bit disjointed, David, but
It's
occasionally we see you move.
saying your bandwidth is low again.
Too good. How's that? Is that any better? Is that any better?
Yeah.
A bit better.
So, comme ci, comme ça.
Okay, well, that's going to be a problem because I can't really mute if can't really switch off the video if I'm trying to demonstrate with my hand. Can you see my hand?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. And here's the brain, and here's the spine. And what happens is when we get triggered, yep, our amygdala takes over. Do you remember me doing this in class, James? And Dom?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so for Damien and Liam, the brain has the prefrontal cortex here. Yeah. And the amygdala is the reptilian part of the brain that teaches us how we react to situations. It protects us. Yep. So if I was to throw something at you, Damien, you'd react by catching it. If I was to say, I'm going to throw something at you, but I don't want you to catch it, you'd sit there and I'd throw it and you go, okay, don't catch, don't catch. You'd be thinking with your prefrontal cortex. Yeah. Now, what happens is in environments is we get triggered. Yep. So what happened when we switched off the video camera, for example, there was an amygdala response. It's like, oh, fuck, I'm being thrown out, rejected, and left in the cold again, left out. Yep. So there was a reaction to that. And the coaching model we use for when people are triggered is called the SCARF model. And so S stands for status. Yep. If people's status is under threat, yep, you need to speak to that status. Yep. So somebody might be going through a divorce. They're no longer married, their status is changing from being married to becoming a divorcee. Yeah. Certainty. So it's SC, certainty. People like to know what's going to happen. Yep. So we come into a container like this, and it's fucking uncertain on what's going on and chaotic. It's like, what the fuck's going on? Where are we going? It's like, if you can explain, okay, so what's going to happen is you're going to see a lawyer, you're going to go to court, you're going to divide up your assets, this is the process. You can bring a bit of certainty to that individual about what's going to happen. Yeah. A stands for autonomy. People don't like being told what to do. Go to meetings, stop using drugs, pull yourself together. You must do this. You must get a sponsor. You must go and see Michelle from Project 6 and clean up your act and go and see a doctor. You're sick. Go and see a psychiatrist. That really gets people's back up. Yep. When you give people autonomy and agency for what their recovery looks like, you get a lot more engagement. Yeah. Relatedness. People need to know why they're doing something. Yep. They need to understand what it's about. Okay, so listen, lots of people go through divorce. You're not alone here. This is what happens. Since marriage has started many years ago, people used to die by 40 years old. Relationships have extended now. No wonder there's a lot more divorce in the world because it's quite normal for divorce to happen. I'm really trying to stretch this divorce metaphor. Hey, maybe I should use something else. Maybe it's just because I've been divorced 3 times, so I'm quite used to it. Yeah. And then finally, fairness. People want to be treated fairly. We get triggered when people feel unfair. So when the lights went, when we switched the video off now, yep, in the classroom, it was triggered. Our status, we're being left out of this classroom. Yep. What's going to happen now? We can't see what's going on. Somebody told us what to do. We don't understand why this is happening. It's unfair. So you could see people in the container got triggered. Does that make sense? So when the container's triggered and when you're triggered as a facilitator or as a coach, it's a fucking problem. What I had to do is I really had to try and stay grounded and just trust the process, just to try and talk about, and to bring in and contain it so the voices could be heard in the system and people in the system could calm down. Does that make sense now? Yeah. So we needed to talk about people's status. First of all, Alex took on the role where he spoke his truth. Yep. I switched off the camera. He felt a lot better. He settled. Yep. And then we spoke without the camera and he kind of came back online. Yep, I feel better now. I don't feel so confused with all these faces that's going on. He became more grounded. He voiced what he was thinking. Then when we put the camera back on, then Zoe went off. I've been shut out. I've been excluded. I've been all this sort of stuff. Of course, that's not what we want to do. Yeah. But it's what happened. Yeah. And instead of trying to go, oh no, sorry, didn't mean for that to happen, it's like, oh fuck yeah, you're excluded. Shit, I can see how this happened. And to just try and align with it and to dance with it and work with it. And Alex at the time had said, oh, I feel so much better. I got this off the chest. So once he'd spoken and we put the camera back on, and the group came back in, he felt a lot better. Does that make sense? Can you see that now? Yeah? So imagine you're working with a family. Yep, families get triggered all the time. Michelle's drinking again. Oh my God, I'm not a bad mother. I gave her everything she wanted. I got her the best Barbie dolls as a kid. It's not my fault. Why are you drinking? You know, the status as a mother's under threat. Listen, dear, it's got nothing to do with you. Michelle just loves a fucking drink. A lot. Is this making sense?
Yeah.
Yeah? I'm getting excited. So if you just try and calm down.
David,
4 minutes
David,
about.
what you described was exactly what happened, as I was saying last week with my mother.
Exactly.
In a communication that she and I had. I was simply sharing with her some memories of some experiences, and this is inside of a 20-year conversation we've been having, and I had some new memories come up. So I shared them with and she was open. She said, "I'm looking forward to receiving your letter." So I sent this letter to her, and the way she took it was exactly what you said when you were using Michelle as an example. Was, "Oh my gosh, I'm a terrible." And as I was reading her response, I could tell that she went straight into a triggering of how bad of a mother she was.
So her status as a mother was under threat.
Yeah.
Insecure about where this leaves your relationship going forward. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did she?
Yeah.
What? How else did she feel?
She was very defensive. I mean, her whole.
How can you do this? I don't relate to this. How can you say this? This is so unfair. You know how much I love you.
And it was also, well, we had some good times too.
Oh yeah, we had some good times.
we had some good times too. Remember when we went to Bainbridge Island and went for that bicycle ride, and we didn't catch the ferry in time, and you know, I was the context of the whole conversation was, here are some memories I have had that, but the big conversation was, we've had an incredible life together. And we've had, yes, there's been some hard times, and yes, there's been some great times, and this was just some of the more difficult memories that I had just started having come up. But she took it as, I wasn't a good mother. Are you telling me I wasn't a good mother? It couldn't have been that way. Yeah.
And what was your intention or hope in sharing those memories with your mum?
It was in two part. It was the continuation of the conversation that we've been having for quite some time, and the openness that we've been having. So if she was having any, for me, it was a clearing just to continue to recognize that there are some feelings that are running in a kind of a trauma-based way, running through my body. They've been coming up lately, things I've never remembered until recently, and so I'm addressing them, and we've had this openness about, if Liam, if anything comes up, just share it with me, and we'll talk about it, and so a lot of healing.
As long as it doesn't make me look like a bad mum.
Yeah. So a lot of healing taking place on for both of us. But this particular letter, it triggered her, and she's at a stage now. She's 85, and to be as open as she is with me at 85 is amazing. But she can't hold it the way she used to be able to. And the mistake I made was thinking that she could hold it the way she used to be able to hold it. And she's just no longer able to hold it like that.
All right. So there's some like emotional intelligence for you is to start to think about, can this person You know, is this person ready to hold this stuff, contain this stuff? Are they at, yeah. And we need to make those calls all the time when we're working with people. How are they being triggered? How might they be triggered? What happens when people do get triggered? What happens when you get triggered, or in my case, when I get triggered? Yeah. James, where are you at with this conversation?
So it makes me think quite a lot actually, because I relate to a certain amount of what Liam's saying, and I think that I've definitely come across that in my relationship with my mother and my dad as well.
Mm.
And one of the things that I kind of I've been practicing within myself is like the utility of something, like what is it useful for and to whom. Like so to me it might feel like really cathartic to explain how I felt about certain aspects of my childhood, but it is only to me that that's useful. And if so, where am I going with that? Because I don't want to stop processing that information. I don't want to shut those things down, because I think one of the things I remember you saying, Liam, was that you felt it in a very physical way, like, you know, the kind of some of these traumas manifest physically within you, and that's something that needs to be kind of exercised out. But yeah, the concept of what can that other person take, you know, can they take that, and to whom is the greater value, and it's a difficult one, isn't it? I know personally I've stopped narrating the stories so much, but I do write them down for myself, so that there is like a kind of physical outlet of stuff, but and then wonder whether or not it's something that's prudent to bring to the family table again, you know, and if it has value, then yes, and if it doesn't, I've decided not to. So that's kind of where I am with within those things, healthy or unhealthy, who knows.
Damien, is the second half a little bit better in terms of structure?
Yes. Thank you.
So I asked a yes/no question. I expect a yes/no answer. Michelle, how are you doing in terms of the scarf model, status, and getting ready for completion and getting your certificate?
Well, I've not fit. I'm not there yet, but I've still got to do my hours, David, because it's one thing I found difficult, because I've had to separate all this work, this course, from uni, and I've struggled with it sometimes because I'm doing psychology and counselling, so I've had to separate the two, you know, from yours. So I've just been sort of like taking my time around uni with yours. I've finished the course, the online stuff. I've finished my hours here, but I've still got my practical work here to do, which I'm starting Monday. So I will be doing some shadowing, and then I'll be starting the coaching sessions. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'm you know, to getting my fingers stuck in on this side of things. I think it'll help more. It'll help me put your platform to work. So I know it's a lot, so I can remember it better, all the models, and I can introduce it when I'm doing the practical work. So yeah. But when I'm coming to finish, I'm sure to let you know. But yeah, I've just sort of like been taking my time with it, because uni's getting.
How many hours a week do you volunteer at Project 6?
Well, I've had to. Well, I was doing a full day. I used to do a full day on a Friday, and I changed it to the Tuesday so I could come in on the Zoom meeting in the morning, and obviously go back home and study. But now I'm going to come in Monday, all day Monday. So it's 60 hours in it, David, that you've got.
How many people do you see on a day?
Well, this is it. This is what we're arranging. Lisa's arranging everything for Monday. So like, I'll be doing a bit of shadowing first, and then we'll sort out after the online, the coaching. Sorry, the coaching part.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Dom, how's this been for you this half?
I found it quite interesting, people talking about their relationship with their families and that. Mine, I haven't really analysed it that much, but I'm my mum and my sister in particular, and even my dad too. They allow me to talk quite freely, and they're very non-judgmental. And sometimes I don't know whether I'm lacking a reaction from them to a degree. So because they're so understanding, and they're like going, well, it's in the past, you're moving forward, you're doing very well. They're very supportive, and they say because it's been quite a quick turnover of things, sort of since August 2023. They're just so supportive and loving, and I'm in a good place with that, and yeah, seeing way everyone else is talking about stuff makes me feel like I can talk. Perhaps maybe I need to ask a bit more of them in a way, but that would be for me rather than for them, wouldn't it?
So what is it that what do you need?
I don't know. I think I've pretty well much got what I need, but sometimes I want them to be a bit more reactionary and not quite so understanding, because I'm like,
So you need them to give you a good bollocking.
Sometimes it feels like that, yeah.
I relate to that. Like, stop being so fucking nice to me. Please shout at me. Tell me I'm a prick.
Yeah.
And because, so for me, there needs to be an acknowledgement of that, so I can move on from it. As opposed to, no, don't be that. No, you're not like that. No, no. Yes, I fucking am.
Yeah.
No, I relate to that. My level one's going off there. It's like, oh yeah, get that stuff. Yeah. It's nice to see you smile and laugh like that. Okay. So, Damien, just to give you some context where we are, we've done the conversation, and we've done 4 classes of that. Then we move to the continuums, and we're in those 4 classes, and then we're going to move to the system, and we'll do 4 classes there, and then we'll do emotional intelligence, and then building the container. And we learn all this stuff all the time. So the SCARF model is towards the end of the second module of the continuums. So you can see where people are going, and then you can see if they're reacting or responding to the environment. So this must be about your 8th class now, 7th or 8th?
Something like that. Yeah, I don't have my calendar in front of me, but however many weeks of the year is however many weeks I've been coming. And I am feeling very much like I'm being quite slow actually at the self-paced online modules. So I'm about to start the second module. And so I haven't got onto this module 3 of the continuums yet. So I need to crack on actually.
Okay. And also, if you could just appreciate a little bit, James, Dom, and Michelle have all done a 3-day intensive,
right,
where did 20 hours of all this, forgot it all, and then go, oh, fuck, what the fuck? Yeah.
I haven't. I've not forgot it all. I had a really
Yeah,
good
yeah.
sleep.
You, Dom and James wouldn't be laughing like that if you didn't. That's the
Yeah.
nature. Like the 3-day intensive is intense. Like as soon as it kicks off, people are going, what the fuck is this? Where's the PowerPoint? Where's the presentation? I want to be bored. Where's the structure? What time's tea? I want to like this. People are so expecting. Oh, we're on a fucking training course. Yep. When it kicks off in a different way, it's like, what the fuck is this? What the and it's high impact. Yeah. James, would you agree with that?
Yeah, very much so. And that was pretty much the first hour of it. I was like, okay, what the fuck's going on? Because I
Yeah.
can't see a whiteboard. He's got no notes or presentation stuff. I have no fucking clue what's actually happening here. And yeah, by the end of like the third day, it was just a buzz of stuff. It does come back when we're talking about it in these sessions, but not completely. And when I'm working through the module stuff as well, there are bits in there. Oh, I remember that. Yes, no, I do. No, I do remember that. That was so yeah. So it may have given us a sort of temporary head start, but I don't know if it was so much of a one. I think we're probably about on a similar par, all of us, really.
And it's the nature of the learning environment that we've created. And the reason for that is just to make your life miserable. No, it's not. The reason for that is to build some resilience in working in a culture of addiction where it's chaotic all the time. Yep. And then the outside world comes in to try and manage that with risk assessments and, the paperwork and this out and that policy. And good luck with that. It doesn't help though. It doesn't help integrate people back into community in all their many roles. Okay. Liam, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, just listening to this last bit of the conversation, and I've just started the first module, so feeling I was like, okay, am I behind or am I ahead? and I suppose for me, I am where I'm at, and my aim is to learn. So I'm setting aside, am I ahead or behind, and just make sure that I'm taking on the content in a way that I can see it apply very well. And it's every time I've logged into one of these Zoom sessions, it's been eye-opening in a way, but also connects me to a lot of the work that I've already done for years, but didn't have context around it. And what a lot of this is providing is context for and allowing me to see, oh, I naturally fell into this that way in a lot of the work, because I didn't work under any sort of a structure for the 15 years at the Mount Talbot Center. So now this is giving me a beautiful foundation to see how much different work I can do going forward. So
you're becoming consciously competent about how unconsciously competent you already are.
I guess, yeah. I guess that's a good way to say it. Yeah, absolutely.
But it's way better than being unconsciously incompetent when you don't even know you're being a fucking prick.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing more dangerous than a unconscious do-gooder.
Oh,
somebody who thinks they're helping, but they actually haven't got a clue.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's what
Yeah,
makes
so
people with lived experience so good, in the sense that they just unconsciously know how to build rapport because they kind of get it.
yeah,
Where they become incompetent is when they start to think that their way of doing things is the way that it needs to be done.
it has to be done. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so I just say again.
How's the call center?
It's yesterday was a challenging day. I had some calls that were quite impactful. When we take on a call that's where an elderly person has been scammed out of half their life savings, can really trigger me. And so
yeah. So they're triggered and you're triggered.
Yeah, yeah. And I have to do the call and not be triggered.
Okay, so rather try and do the call knowing you're triggered.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
yesterday
it was what's that?
Does the person get the money back?
We do our best. There's no guarantee that we can do that because they move their money so fast, but there are some government criteria expecting banks to make sure that the customers do get their money back. And that's a sharing, there's a sharing component with the recipient banks as the scammer moves the money. And so Barclays has to come up with, because we're required to protect the customer's money. And when we don't meet that requirement, we're required to support the customer, which means providing some sort of refund to the best extent possible that we can. So, yeah.
Oh, okay. So there's a great place to practice coaching now when people are triggered. Yep. Think about that in your work now.
We'll do so. Absolutely. That's a great idea. Yeah, yesterday I had 2 calls like that. They were very, very difficult calls. And I could feel myself going into different areas from an empathetic standpoint, and just my stomach just drops, and then I have to collect myself and I got things I need to do as a physical thing to make sure their account's protected, make sure that they get serviced in a.
Oh my God, my stomach's just dropped. This is a terrible story. I need to do things to help you out here. How are you feeling? It's like when Tom, was it Tom? Tim? I've forgotten his name now. I'm tired. Yeah, Tim in that. It's like when he spoke about how he was feeling. I was feeling the same, and I owned it, and that kind of de-escalated it a bit.
Yeah, and one of these calls, they didn't even know they were being scammed. I was the one that had to tell them that they were being scammed, and so that takes it. Well, it's really hard to describe what it means to tell somebody over the phone that they've not been speaking to a Barclays employee. They've been speaking to a scammer, and that their money is now gone. And yeah.
Fuck, that's enough to drive anyone to drink. Be careful.
It's a difficult conversation to have, especially with the elderly.
Oh, mate.
Yeah.
Oh, I get angry.
I get all of those: sadness, disappointment, anger, frustration. I mean, it's layers upon layers of feelings rush right through you in a single instant. And you want to, for me, I want to drive to their home and give them a big hug and tell them it's going to be okay, but I can't do that. I can only do it over the phone, and it's over the phone. There's no face-to-face. There's no video. There's nothing. There's just me and an elderly couple, and they had no idea what was happening. And I'm looking at their account going, oh my Lord, they've been taken. And I'm feeling it right now. So
Yeah.
Do you have any sort of trauma debriefing?
And they do provide that when we request it, which I've done on occasion. You kind of get used to it a little bit over time, but yeah. So if I need to, I just reach out to my team leader.
What's it like for you talking about it here in this container?
It's instantly brings back the feelings that I have at that moment. So, I mean, these things are quite impactful.
Yeah, I can hear it in your voice.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Am I being disrespectful?
No, not at all.
Okay, all right. So I really want to just welcome your sadness, and I just want to honor the humanity in you. You've got the burden of humanity in you.
Yeah. It's it's a job I fell into, which is nice, and it's served its purpose over time. But it's when you have to deal with 2 or 3 of those kind of calls every week, it wears on you.
I can see that.
Yeah.
So you've handed in your notice, yes?
No, not yet. I have to go through all the security. I have to go through all the security stuff first. So they said, because it's I'll be working in the prisons, and so I have to do this prison security stuff first.
Your DBS checks.
Yeah, the DBS, and then the HMPPS has their own security check that they do. So I have to get that clearance first, and then I'll give notice. So probably mid-April I'll start.
Okay. All right.
Which is good, because then I'll be just about finished with all of the coursework for the certification, and then I think you and I can talk about the practical aspects of it, and see what once I get a feel for the work I'll be doing way through, how I can get that set up, or whether any of my previous work would have applied. Yeah.
All right, everyone. Time to wrap up, to close the container. Who wants to start?
I'll start. I've found it very interesting today, because last week I engaged at Project 6 in a room full of people, which had a good quality to it. But now doing this separately, I'm finding another quality which I find in value in, where we seem a bit more focused. In when you're in a group room, especially where the acoustics aren't very good, there's a lot of ambient sound coming from outside. I found it very distracting. So I'm feeling, although I want to be part of that container at Project 6, I think it's probably a better idea to engage in this form.
Great. So Dom's been all over the place today. Great. Who are you taking, Dom?
I'll take James again, because he's next on my screen.
Thanks, Dom. So Yeah, very much a learning experience today. In some things around like the container assembly, some reminders of some of like the continuums and processes, which is to actually, if I start applying that to some of the other things that are occurring, I find more and more relevant. So that's a good, personal learning thing as well as like practical tools. And yeah, there are lots of really interesting things. So I'm very pleased by that. And let's pop over and see what Damien has to say about today.
Hi, yeah. Yes, I'm checking out, feeling a lot better than how I began, partly because my coffee and my paracetamol have kicked in. And partly because, yeah, I certainly enjoy the feeling of being in a Zoom room of individuals. I do find it difficult to engage and create relationship and intimacy with the separate group room. But as we've discussed today, it is what it is, and perhaps that's one of the big takeaways for me is, as usual, looking at my perfectionism rather than resisting that setup, maybe finding a way to accept and work within it. That's partly, and secondly, I've got a lot out of this discussion about triggers. I've never seen it broken down into this scarf model. I think that's really interesting. It set off a lot of thoughts about situations I've been in recently where I've been triggered, about situations that I've been in recently where a member of the family was triggered. So that's very interesting. And I think the third and final thing that's coming up for me is that in terms of my journey towards recovery coaching and certification, I need to give myself a little bit of time to think about what I need, and I'm getting there in terms of what I need to drive me forward. I'm interested, curious a little bit about my own reluctance in engaging with the online platform. And the last 2 weeks, I've noticed a little bit of reluctance. I've arrived and I've got something out of the sessions, but I've noticed a bit of reluctance as I approach the classes. So I need to think a little bit about what I need, and either bring it back to the group or maybe just talk to David offline or something. But yeah, so I think a really good couple of hours for me overall. Thanks.
Are you tagging Damien?
Oh, sorry. I'm tagging Michelle.
I've just been processing while Damien's been talking. Yeah, I felt when I first come on talking about triggers, it triggered me thinking back to the beginning when I first started these sessions in the group, and I was trying to respect other people's wishes and how they felt. But saying that, it made me feel uncomfortable because I went on camera. But then it brings me back to a point where I think just accepting things and, letting things be. But it's a dilemma again, because this last half of this session I've enjoyed, because I should have done it on my phone before, because I can see everybody closely when it's individual. It's better. You seem more calmer, more relaxed. But I also enjoy seeing rest of the Project 6 people, because I've never met them before. But yeah, triggers and the conversation, what you were talking about, Dom, with your mum and you, Liam. I was thinking back to my relationship with my mum, how she is, questions I've not asked her, but I asked her when I was using, and I related to that, Dom, with you. Sometimes you're not getting back off your parents, what you want to be hearing. I think that's just another thing with my mum that I've accepted. But I know she finds it difficult with me right now because I'm in a completely different space. It's like she's having to get to know me again, and it leaves a bit of awkwardness in the room sometimes when we're together. But yeah, I think that's what I'm taking from today. What we talked about, the triggers and everything. So yeah. Thank you, everyone. James.
I've already been.
Oh, you've already been, haven't you? Yeah, Liam.
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 Yeah, I am. My biggest takeaway was watching how the container took shape earlier in the session, and how it shifted as people began to become more open with what it is they wanted to experience, and where they were feeling triggered, and what their expectations were about being, whether it's being in front of, being on the video, or being able to be seen, or being able to be heard. And David, your skill set to help people navigate, or the whole group to navigate that experience in such a way that everybody felt very open with being able to say what it is it needed to say. Something I aspire to, certainly. And then watching my own triggers take place as the session progressed for the first half, and then also my own triggers being my own feelings being triggered as I'm talking about various things, my mother for once, and then yesterday's difficult day in the call center. So yeah, the biggest takeaway is watching that container and being a witness of the container and everybody in it, trying to figure out where they were in that container and who they were in that container. It's my as an observation point, that was a good experience for me.
Cool. All right, is that everyone? I check out a bit time pressured. Thank you all. Damien, reach out if you need to. If you want to condense it more and attend more classes, let me know so it's not so spread out. If you want to jump off and throw the whole thing in, let me know as well. And yeah, I personally hope you do stick around though. All right, everyone.
I personally hope he
Can I have a
sticks
quick
around
word
too.
with you, David,
Sure.
before you leave?
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Go for it, Michelle.
Yeah, I just want to talk about, the certificate for the online platform. I didn't receive my certificate. I got all my scores back.
Did you do it on the old platform or the new one?
I did it on the new. I started off on the old platform, and then I finished off. I did most of it on the new platform.
Okay, well that's fine. And when will you complete your hours?
I don't know. This is it. I'm still working
Everyone
that
can
out.
leave if you want to leave, unless you want to stick around. You're more than welcome to leave.
Yeah, I'm still trying to work that out, David. It will be, I suppose, it'll be about 6.5 hours on a Monday.
Okay, well that'll be fine. So I'm happy to give you a certificate.
Yeah, Tony and Vicky asked me to ask you the accreditation process, because they finished all their hours and they've finished everything.
Are their bosses happy for them to be certified?
I will, yeah. Do you know what? I told them this, David. I'll tell them again that it's up to Lisa, once she's happy, you'll get your certificates. So
Yeah. So
yeah.
so I'll just get a little email from Lisa saying you lot are good to go, and then we'll give you your certificates.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thanks, David. Okay. Bye.
Okay. Bye.